Hello, my name is Akenna Kublal, and I am the host of the Labor of Love podcast. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about a topic that is really dear to my heart and was the theme of my women's event in 2023: fear over freedom. We live in a time where fear seems to be a constant companion. Just this morning, I was thinking about how easy it is for us to fall into a pattern of being afraid because of trauma, because of things that have happened to us, or even because of things that we have seen others go through. Even more so now in 2024, with so much global crises, personal anxieties, we literally just lived through a global pandemic. It's really easy to feel overwhelmed. But how does fear influence our choices? And how exactly does that affect our freedom? And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. So let's start by defining our terms. Fear is a powerful emotion, and it's our body's way of responding to threats. When we're afraid, we would often feel our palms getting sweaty. We might feel our shoulders tensing up. We might feel our heart start racing. Some of us might get a headache. For some people, if you're really afraid, you might even black out. So your body tells you that you're afraid before your mind sometimes even lets you know that you're afraid. But freedom is our ability to act, think, and live without undue restraint. I'm sure as an adult you've often admired the freedom that a toddler has, where they would run off into the street, not even worrying about the car that's coming, or they would jump off the high table, or they would live with such fearlessness and just joy, not worrying about what is to come, but just being very present in the moment because they are unaware. They have not yet experienced the ills of this world, so they're unaware of anything to be able to even be fearful about. When fear becomes pervasive, it can start to shape our freedoms. And that is what happens and has happened to so many of us when we have experienced fearful things actually coming to pass in our lives. It has limited our ability to be free. We become afraid that if we try again, we might get disappointed, that if we love again, our hearts might be broken, that if we go after those things again that we once were disappointed in, that it might not come to pass. Fear limits us from tapping into our full potential. So imagine a world where every decision is made through the lens of fear. What would that look like? For some of you, you probably already know because it might be a present reality. Would we still have the same freedoms that we enjoyed today? If you lived your life through the lens of fear, if you are living your life through the lens of fear, are you living the way that you expected your life to be today? To explore this, I want you to consider a few key areas where fear and freedom intersect. Think about technology, politics, and even your personal security. Let's talk a little bit about technology. So our smartphones and online presence are pretty important to our lives. But with this convenience, it comes an unfortunate trade-off. Our personal data is being collected constantly. Our mental health is being affected daily. And we're often asked to accept this for the sake of quote unquote security or making life better, right? How much of our freedom are we willing to sacrifice for the promise of safety? Recently, I saw a friend on Facebook. She shared that her picture was being used on this ad for a financial company, probably a fraudulent company. But she shared her picture on her own personal page, and these people went and they took it and they're using it now for their business. And I started to think, how scary this internet is becoming. Like, you want to use the internet for things as it pertains to business, to grow your brands and things like that. But here on the flip side, your personal safety is being compromised because people can literally take your images and use it for anything. They can use your name to try to scam people. They can use your identity to try to, do all kind of crazy things. And we are literally just going along with these things because it's become the way of life. And it's pretty tough to avoid it. But if you are afraid of every bad thing on the internet, you would never be able to recognize the powerful tool that technology is to be able to be used for good things. In fact, you're listening to this on your phone or on your computer, on a YouTube channel that's on the internet that's also used for bad things. So it's really about just balance and just finding your way to block out the noise that makes you afraid or fearful. What separates those that use the bad things for fear versus those that use the bad things for fuel? Fear is a universal experience. It's that uncomfortable feeling that often holds us back from pursuing our dreams and living fully. But yet, history shows us that fear, when confronted, can lead to extraordinary achievements and a greater sense of freedom. Take, for example, the story of Malala Yousafzai. A couple of years ago, I bought this book for my daughter, and I've always been inspired by this young girl. At just 15, and today I have a 15-year-old, Malala defined the Taliban's ban on girls' education in her native country of Pakistan. Her courage to speak out for the right to education came at a great personal risk. In 2012, she suffered an assassination attempt despite the fear and physical pain that she endured. Malala continued her advocacy on a global stage, and her bravery later on earned her a Nobel Peace Prize. Malala's story is a testament to how confronting your fear with unwavering resolve can lead to ripples of change that resonate worldwide. Another really inspiring story is that of my personal friend Lindsay. Last year at my event, Lindsay attended, and if you look on my page, she has an interview that we did with another dear friend of mine who has had a woman's show. And my friend Lindsay, she suffered with alcohol abuse for quite some years and drug abuse for a couple of years. And she sadly, unfortunately, eventually was arrested and spent a little bit of time in prison. It was while she was in prison that she found Jesus, while she was in prison that she made a decision to change her life around, while she was in prison that she was able to tap into her purpose. And when she came out, she made a decision that she was never going to live her life the same again. Sometimes the fearful things, the things that we're afraid of, being captured, being, as in her case, arrested, are the things that God uses to lead us to our place of freedom. And it doesn't mean to say that we have to go through all these nasty, tough, difficult things to be able to make it to a place of freedom. Absolutely not. Life should not be that hard. But the reality is that as human beings, as women, when we go through difficult things, it builds a sense of resilience in us. For those that would have the right perspective and not give up hope to be able to make it to a better side. As a person of faith, I'm always amazed by the story of Joseph. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers for just being himself. Imagine that. Just being you. Just being born, gifted, just being the person that your father loved and cared for, just receiving a gift from your parents and your other siblings being so jealous of you to the point that they wanted to kill you. And in the story of Joseph, his brothers, they attempted to sell him into slavery, but Joseph ended up in a house of royalty. He faced challenges in that home, but eventually he became the person that his family then had to come to for help, for resources in another season of their life. Had Joseph's perspective been one of, oh, woe is me, pity me, this and that, he may not have ever made it out of the pit that he was in, quote unquote, pit that he was in. But he remained faithful to his faith, and he allowed God to use that season to refine him and to make him ready for the next part that he had for him. He didn't lose his gifts and talents. In fact, God increased it during that time of being in a very fearful situation, not knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing if they're going to execute you, not knowing if you're going to die in that prison, become an old person, not knowing. But he made it out eventually to a place of freedom and was able to help other women, other people as well. Saying women because that's my thing, to help people get to that place as well. So I really want to encourage you today, if you've listened to this, to take inspiration from these few stories like Malala, Lindsay, and even Joseph in the Bible. To let your courage be a reminder, and their courage be a reminder to you that you have the power to overcome fear and embrace your own freedom. Whether it might be standing up for your beliefs, even if that means standing alone, pursuing a dream, or simply making a difficult decision. Remember that fear is not a barrier, but a sign of growth. Thank you for joining me on this journey through fear and freedom. I encourage you to go on my YouTube channel and check out the clip from Labor of Love 2023, From Fear to Freedom. You can also go on Instagram and look up Labor of Love TT or Akenna Kublal on Instagram, where you would find clips from Labor of Love 2023. The 2024's event was postponed, and I have made the decision to have these events biannually now because it has been really, really challenging for me to keep it annually. But we will be back on in 2025, and I really look forward to sharing the theme in the next coming months with you guys, and I cannot wait to see you there. I hope that over the next couple of months that these podcasts continue to bring us closer. I hope these stories inspire you to confront your own fears and pursue your own passions with renewed determination. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, please share with a friend, please leave a comment. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on how fear has influenced your journey towards freedom. Until next time, stay courageous and embrace your freedom. Keep shining and keep believing in your own power to change the world. Talk to you next time. Bye.